Welcome, Dr. Matt. So wonderful to have you on this call with me. So to everybody that doesn't know who Dr. Matt is the incredible inventor of the less is more protocol that is used over 1,000 locations across North America. And Dr. Matt is also has trained probably over 300 practices. Is that right, Dr. Matt?
Yeah, about 330 over the last 6 years.
Wow. And I think you've sold probably over 700 devices now of the Softwave OrthoGold series, haven't you?
Yeah, this past month I broke the 700 sales mark, which, there's a whole team behind us. Davide, your great team, the team at our delivery and service. It's definitely a success of our entire agency, but it's exciting. We have 2,400 of these globally now. And, I feel like there's nothing more powerful than an idea that its time has come. And we're going to talk about the evolution, right? This is a fourth generation lithotripsy, and 7 years ago when I got involved with this, we had the OrthoGold 100, which was an amazing device. It had, this healing supersonic sound waves, which the new 350s, 500s, and even the ChiroGold all have these great capabilities, but there's a little secret sauce now on some of our new devices that we'll share with our viewers at the end. Okay. But I also said over the last 7 years, it may be the most versatile device that we've seen in our lifetime. And, I'll get into the reasons why I feel that way. But, you know, does it really work, right? This is a genuine lithotripsy. It's the same technology we've used for over the last 40 years to break up kidney stones, biliary stones, and salivary stones with an 85% success rate. We are also the OrthoGold 350 and 500. They're considered a class 2 clear device for the treatment of diabetic foot ulcers, wounds, burns, and post-surgical scars. We already had the class 1 clearance for decreasing pain, decreasing inflammation, improving circulation, and activation of connective tissue, which is really the fabric of life. That is the matrix of all tissue, bone, nerve, organs, adipose tissue. It's all comes from connective tissue. So that one, I tell my doctors, this gives you a license to heal, right? This is an article that I was featured in Forbes after the pandemic or during the pandemic. And it really talked about where other companies were kind of going this way. Softwave was going this way. And, we were lucky enough to bring you on, and you've done some amazing work with us as well. I guess we also should say that, these wounds, these class 2 cleared conditions are also paid for by Medicare in a multidisciplinary setting. So that's like with medical doctors, wound centers, podiatrists, and even some doctors or physical therapists. So, does it really work? Yes, we're seeing 65 to 91% success and patient satisfaction, with musculoskeletal type issues. Over the last 20 years, our company has spent $25 million in research and development. We've published over 240 peer-reviewed studies from 98 different universities from a global partnership. So, I mean, we are the creme de la creme. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I think, and that people can very quickly get diverted from that little piece there, because to get a single FDA clearance that you talked about over there requires so much R&D, so much validation to get that. So when we just glance sometimes very quickly over that when you're looking for a piece of equipment, really, as a practitioner of any sort, you should always be looking at the validation from the FDA on those pieces of equipment, because there's so much research and development that's gone behind this. And I believe it was about $25 million of research and development behind this equipment.
Right, around 25 million. And, thankfully to, our partnership and our German counterparts, we've been able to fund this. And really, the proof is in the pudding, as I say. So, some of you may be wondering, why haven't you heard of us? We used to have people, they didn't know who we were or what we did, but we are in Harvard, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Yale, some of the top professional sporting teams. And, it's it's really a new twist on an old technology. That's what I like to say. We've repurposed this low intensity, low energy lithotripsy that is, capable of helping the body heal at a much quicker rate. Um, Again, being used by some of the top professional teams, and it's just been really fun to see the growth with some of these fine organizations that we work with. You know, the burning question is, how much is it, right? There's always been this sticker shock associated with shockwave devices, and you never know what you're going to get, right? And most of the doctors, and I've talked to over 3,700 doctors over the last 7 years, and most of them think they're doing the research by Googling. But be careful, because there's people out there, like, we like to connect, but there's people out there who like to connect, right? And the real question you should be asking is, how many more people am I going to help? And I'm going to show you a little clip from Mr. Smith right here, who came all the way down from New York City. He'd been a bus driver for 27 years, and 20 years ago had a stroke and lost a function of his left hand. So he drove in the metro of New York City for 20 years with one good working hand. Okay. And these are the stories it's about. And so I want you to focus on the ROII. It's return on impact in your community first, and then it's return on investment. And we're going to show you how you can get anywhere from 4-to-1 return on investments and nearly a 5-to-1 with this new model that's coming out. So my question to you is, what's in your clinic? Like, what do you have that's going to help your patients, the toughest patients, so you refer out less, you keep them more in-house, and they get better quicker. So let's see if this plays. Give me a thumbs up if it works. Mr. Smith, why you got your hand like that? What's going on? Tell me.
Yeah, I just had a similar.
You had the shockwave treatment, yeah. And what about, and the lights? What did you think?
I thought it was very good.
How come? Tell me what's different about your hand.
So I can move it, open it up all the way like.
How long has it been since you've been able to do that?
20 years.
20 years. Ms. Smith, is this true?
Yeah, 20 years. About 20 years.
After you had a stroke.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's your first visit. We're real excited. Give me 5.
All right. I'll give you 5 this one. Yeah.
And that was our first viral video that has had over 1 million views. And that happened, not as a fluke, but as patients were coming in from Baltimore, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Northern Florida, Alabama. I mean, and it wasn't me, right? It was this technology. I always say to our doctors, take no credit, take no blame. This is a futuristic healing machine. And, I've been a chiropractor for over 30 years. And I have to say, it's been a wonderful profession. But the last 7 years, I've seen what would be considered medical miracles, pretty much every month in our clinics, and now every week with our network of wonderful doctors, right? You're keeping track of this,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the big things is a lot of people have concerns about technology these days because they're thinking, well, hey, I don't want to buy something that's just going to be sitting on, on the side. What we're actually seeing is a lot of chiropractic doctors are making this front and center of their office, as opposed to it just collecting dust in the corner of their office. Because of the impact that this has on patients, and they're getting better outcomes, they're feeling a lot better immediately. And where it used to take maybe 8 sessions to reduce their pain levels from like a 10 out of 10 to like a 2 out of 10, now they're getting sort of very, very quick results out that first session, dropping their pain level significantly. People are feeling better. And a lot of the patients are just remarking, I just want to feel better. And when I get these software treatments, I feel better. And I think that's the thing that's heartwarming. That's the thing that gets me very excited about this technology specifically, compared to everything else in the market that kind of has all these hit and miss results.
You're right. I mean, I remember 5 years ago, we did a interview with Dr. Dan Pompa, and, he has health centers of the future. And this was the focal point. And he helped us place this in 42 of his 50 platinum members. And that's where we were able to track the original data that we're going to share with you guys today. But I mean, we titled it, "This will not only transform your practice, but your community." And I mean, a lot of the statements we made back there have actually come true and come to fruition. But just a few of the top people that we get to work with: Dr. James Bradley, the Pittsburgh Steelers, team orthopedist since 1991. Jim Maurer has been the head trainer for the Dallas Cowboys for the last 36 years. And, we had a device with the World Series champions 2021 Atlanta Braves. We've also been with the US Open champion Graham McDowell, who's now on the Live Tour. And we have Dr. Matt Ort, who works with Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, and Pat Perez on the ACES team. So it's been really fun. This is pretty cool. I want to show you. It's like this becomes a magnet for new patients, professional athletes, as well as A-list celebrities. So I just want to show you this. This is my TikTok, has over 2.3 million views. This one has 465,000. This one has 473,000. For some reason, for the last 2 years, my followers hasn't gone up, but my likes does. So don't worry about following me, but definitely come and like some of the stuff. Let me just show you, what it's been like to work with Dr. John Boone, who's head of rehab for the Miami Dolphins, as well as that's the 2022 NL East champions thanking us. The coolest thing about this is we got a device over there to help with Ronald Acuna's recovery after his knee injury. And he hit 2 home runs on a Saturday. And he was like, I'm back. And this device helped me. That next Sunday for their noontime game, they had a line of 8 to 10 players waiting to get this treatment because it was the secret sauce, right? That helped bring Ronald Acuna Jr. back. And I remember the assistant trainer calling John and John Warlick, our founder, and saying, we're going to need another device, right? Because people were waiting. So let's just see. Oh, here it is. I'm going to show you how this one little, let's see if
That's
it works.
as far as this one goes. This is before treatment.
Yep.
Okay, open it up, close it again. All right. Well, how'd you do that? I mean, how'd you break it?
Oh, you really? This girl named Jasmine.
This girl named Jasmine, he said. And
Tire, small tire.
Oh, Jesus.
And yeah,
so, but the tire exploded. He's one of the equipment managers, and it broke his hand, and he was unable to bring his thumb and oppose it back for over a year. And 1 3-minute treatment kind of melted away over a year of scar tissue and pain and flushed out that inflammation. So, again, we not only teach our doctors how to help these patients get better, but we also create video case studies, which, I thought, I'd come home and I would tell my wife, like, oh my gosh, this lady was in a walker, and then we worked on her with shockwave, and her husband carried the walker out and she walked on her own. And my wife would say, did you videotape it? And I said, no. And she goes, no one's going to believe it unless you videotape it. So I would put the probe down and I would pick up the phone and I would start documenting whatever came out of that patient's mouth. And, I have thousands of pre and post visits after the first session with shockwave. And I honestly thought that, mainstream media would find us organically because we were posting this stuff every other day. And, I haven't been called into the Today Show, right? And I always tell people, that's because you're not sharing my stuff and all of our wonderful docs, right? And talk about Shockwave University, Davide. What do you think of that? What is your...
Well, I think the key thing here is people think that we're just selling a machine, right? In reality, it couldn't be further from the truth, because the truth is you could buy any piece of equipment and not be successful. The real success lies in the systems, the people, the network, the community. When you're trying to treat a difficult case and you don't have access to other doctors who've had success with certain types of protocols, and you're just scratching your head, you're kind of trying to figure out, how am I going to treat this person next week? You feel maybe embarrassed because, hey, you've never done this before, and now you're not getting results, and you've tried this laser or you've tried this thing and it's not really working, and you've got nowhere to run. And that, in the reality, like, Shockwave University provides the perfect environment for every doctor to come in, copy and paste what's working, copy and paste the protocols, this incredible protocol that you developed. These things are worth their weight in gold, because ultimately chiropractors get better results, get better outcomes, and patients love it. They tell their friends, they tell people. It's a complete growth mechanism, but it starts right there.
Happy patients refer more. And this is really, you hit the nail on the head. This is really a productivity and profitability increasing system. You know, it's just, what do I say all the time? Just add humans. That's all we need. And we'll get into the training part of this because I think that's what sets us apart from any other shockwave device out there. So even Dr. Martin O'Malley, foot and ankle specialist for the NFL, NBA, PGA, he says, if you're doing sports medicine in 2020 and beyond, you need this technology in your clinic. And, you know, I love the way he is. I heard him speak in Las Vegas last year, and he was like, listen, I'm not here to debate who's got the best shockwave device. All I can tell you is I have 3. And that goes, it's like a mic drop. Boom. You know, it's like, and what I can tell you is I have 6 of the original OrthoGolds, and I have 1 of the 350s, and I have a 500 on order. So nothing compares. Uh-oh, let's see if we can keep going here. This is the original, the OG of shockwave therapy. This is Wolfgang Schaden explaining what makes our technology different. And I thought I would share it with our viewers today.
So when you put, this is how the shockwave would develop. And when you put this source into an ellipsoid, you see how the shockwave is reflected and then concentrated.
No other shockwaves have a primary and a secondary wave.
This is what I wanted to say now.
Damn it.
What you see is,
But nobody ever measures the primary wave. All this minus 6B is never on the, nobody's ever measured it.
That's Dr. Wolfgang.
it's,
That's John Warlick, our
I
founder and inventor.
He said they don't measure, they only measure this.
So what does electrohydraulic really mean? I want to break it down because, you know, this is really the truth about shockwaves. There's so many other companies out there that may have slicker marketing, faster talking salespeople, but we are the gold standard in for low intensity, low energy shockwave. And electrohydraulic means there's a spark plug surrounded by water. That spark plug will generate a supersonic sound wave that's traveling over 765 miles an hour. The water magnifies it nearly 5 times. So you get sound waves that are traveling 3,355 miles an hour. And I want you to look at the blue zone, right? You talk about blue zones around the world where people live to be 100 years old. This blue zone that I'm referring to is where the real magic happens, where the supernatural healing happens. So let's watch this little animation. Those sound waves are penetrating the depth of a soup can in the bottom. They're working on a cellular level that actually activates our innate immune system, specifically the first responders and our mitochondrial and our toll-like receptor 3s and interleukins and cytokines and stem cells. Of those 240 peer-reviewed studies, 10% of those are showing that we activate stem cells within minutes of treatment. Stem cells are the repairmen of the body. Now, this on the left, I love this slide. It shows you mitochondrial. And on the left, it is at an anaerobic state, meaning it's lacking the proper amount of energy and oxygen, right? So it's not functioning at the most efficient rate. This is the mitochondrial 10 minutes after we had used Softwave. This is from Dr. Johannes Hofeld, world-renowned cardiac thoracic surgeon, but who did some of this amazing research with an electron microscope while he was in med school. As you can see, this middle one is circulation. This is one of my patient's foot, Miss Carol. And you can see the one on the left is blue and cyanotic, okay? That means it's lacking rich oxygen into that distal extremity. When I see cyanosis, I think sayonara, because you're not going to be around long. And this literally was after a 3-minute treatment. It's on my YouTube page. You can go to Dr. Matt DeDuro and see the entire treatment. But this is the pre and post after. And I mean, you're getting 400 to 500% more oxygen to that distal tissue, and that oxygen-rich blood is bringing the nutrients and energy. And I love this little skeleton because it basically, it shows how versatile this device is. I mean, we were in Amsterdam. How cool was that, being around 350 other doctors?
They
and
really.
learning some of the top research.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite life transforming, to be honest, because many people can think this is just a snowflake experience. You know, it's a one of a kind experience, but actually we're seeing this happening globally, and that's what gets me really excited about this. But I think also, before we rush over that, that foot is so powerful because we've actually done some clinical studies, haven't we, on people who were scheduled for amputations, somewhat very similar scenarios. What actually happened with that?
That's you're talking about Dr. Marcus' study that was in the stem cell regeneration index.
Yeah.
And it was a white paper that she did with us that had 11 people. She's a slab lab. She's where they go and they get amputations, right? People with diabetes. And so she picked 11 people that had chronic type of wounds, and they all agreed to come in once a week for 6 weeks. And 10 of the 11 after 6 weeks did not need an amputation.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And the other cool thing was it didn't matter if you were a smoker or non-smoker, they still healed at the same statistical significance, right? There was no data that didn't allow that. So yeah, I mean, it's huge. And John Warlick has made the statement on my podcast, but basically that we will save thousands of people from amputations over the next, decade. And you look at the Austrian workers' comp system, and you have to hold that up on a platter, a silver platter, because they're the ones that have paved the way. They have this in 11 trauma centers. They use it for all their worker comp system. They, in the last 15 years, they've reported we've saved them 70 million euros on non-healing fractures and wounds.
Wow.
That's amazing. For a small country like that, that can make a huge, significant impact on their health costs.
And
so
also on the ground, because I hear from a lot of providers as well, they were turning away or referring out a lot of these types of cases. You know, now they have this incredible tool, and as you said, 3 minutes, you're changing someone's life.
who knew?
You know, and
Yeah.
this is next level care, honestly. To put a device like that in your office and start changing lives, I mean, this is what we all want, right?
Yeah, I mean, and listen, as Dr. Johannes Hofeld, who's a cardiac thoracic surgeon, he's done 63 bypass surgeries. During open heart, he used our patented technology for a 3-minute treatment on the heart of a beating heart during open heart surgery. And 1 year later, had a 12% improvement in left ventricular ejection fraction. That's a 33% improvement in heart function. Never before in mankind has there been a true cardiac regenerative therapy until now. That study, it was just been recently published in European Heart Journal. And if you ask, we'll send you out a copy of it. It's really cool. I mean, this all happens because of mechanotransduction. And what you have to understand is there's no damage to tissue. A lot of those cheaper shockwave devices are ballistic in nature. They have a little metal stylus and they pound on tissue and they only work superficially. There is damage to that tissue and then cytotoxicity, which is death of the cells before healing and angiogenesis. We skip all that damage part. We are using what's called mechanotransduction. What's important about our technology is you have a high pressure followed by a lower pressure, and you'll see where it drops along that x-axis. And what's happening is the cell, you can see in the resting phase, during that high pressure, it's compressed by 2%, and during that negative pressure, it's expanded. I always say it's like standing on the shore of the ocean, and you have a wave that hits you. That's the positive tensile force. And then when the water gets sucked back into the ocean, that's almost negative and strong enough to pull you down. And that's what's happening. This compression every 3 to 4 nanoseconds is happening so fast that this compression expansion creates a shearing force that knocks messenger RNA, extracellular vesicles, exosomes, all these precursors to the stem cells and helper cells. And it's like this alarm that goes off in your immune system says, beep, beep, we're getting hit by supersonic sound waves. Let's find out. It literally tricks your body into thinking there's a new injury and sending out that whole cascade of healing elements and first responders. So that's an important part that people always say, well, how could you put this technology on a damaged heart that had a heart attack? Well, we're not doing any more damage, right? So important concept. We see stimulate healing, decreasing pain, activate these resonant stem cells, decreases inflammation, and improves blood circulation. Have you seen in the other photos? What do you have to say about this? What would you like to add to this, Davide?
Well, that's every part of the human body, right? I mean, and I think there's so many new cases that we're seeing. We just had another stat come out the other day about 6.5 million women, diagnosed with endometriosis. A further 5.6 million potentially also have endometriosis. These are at a cellular level. This is stress on the endoplasmic reticulum. But when you're using this type of technology, you're stopping the inflammatory response and you're allowing the body to go and reproduce healthy cells into the body, replenishing, restoring, regenerating tissue all around the body. So, it's probably the most versatile piece of equipment you could wish for. And because all the building matrix, as you said earlier, Dr. Matt, it's all the same building matrix, right? So we're just in the body.
And there's two parts to that inflammatory process. The way Johannes Hofeld explains to it, we're down regulating it, right? Your body needs inflammation to heal, but it's in the beginning part and then it down regulates. But we're also, through the activation of toll-like receptors 3 and 4, which are essential for healing in mammals, but we're activating that, which helps the body find a homeostasis, right? Because if you have a chronic condition that has inflammation there daily, every day, and then all of a sudden you literally physically flush it out with our supersonic sound waves, the body's like, no, 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 we have inflammation every day. We show up here for inflammation. And inflammation, it's really infla-aging, right? It's accelerating the aging of these cells. But we are physically, I like to think of it as like having this superpowered leaf blower, and we go in there and we're flushing out that inflammatory soup that lays dormant in arthritic joints. Can you see that big knuckle? That's what happens. I mean, I use Softwave on my hands probably every 3 to 5 weeks. I am a chiropractor. I work with my hands. But, you'd still be considered a pioneer. Right now, we've only tapped into 2% of the healthcare providers in the chiropractic space. And this is the professor that created this. All new technology goes through this phase. And as you can see, we're still in the early innovation. And it took, Softwave 20 years to get to this point. We're not some one-hit wonder that just popped on the scene and like, hey, buy this device, right? So, there are a lot of people that have been sitting on the sidelines, right? I spoke to 3,700 people, only 700 bought. They would say to Duro, if this is as good as you say it is, why isn't it everywhere? And I'm like, well, that's our mission. Well, that's our goal, to put it everywhere. So, once we get 2.5% plus the early adopters come in, once you get that 16%, that's when you jump the chasm and really the floodgates open. And then you get the early adopters that'll be coming in, and then the late conservative adopters who are kind of sitting on the sideline still going, I don't know if this is the next phase or next boom. And then you have the skeptics. These are the guys and girls that still have the flip phone, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think, Dr. Matt, what's really powerful there, you actually touched something very powerful, is that curve also exists for patients. More and more patients are becoming aware that there's alternative solutions to drugs, surgery, and medication. And that curve is also increasing for patients. Patients are going, hey, listen, I don't want to have a surgery anymore. I'm going to go for the Shockwave. And we just had a number of people coming out. They're all seeing these medial meniscus tears sort of fully regenerating. I mean, these are the types of things that we're experiencing on a daily basis. And patients are recognizing and realizing that they don't need to go for surgery. And this has now created this influx of new patients for practices. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, this is consumer driven. And, we had an identity crisis. No one knew who we were or what we did. As the consumer becomes informed, and now that we have 2,400 clinics worldwide, there's a buzz. We have 50,000 visitors every month to softwaveclinics.com.
Wow.
What's that tell you? People are sick and tired of accidentally overdosing on opioids or prescription drugs. There's 33 negative side effects to cortisone. There's 33% of all joint replacements are considered failures, right? Because they're replacing the joints, they're not replacing the nerves. And in about a third of these cases, it's neuritis. It's the inflammation of the nerve. What does our device do? It gets rid of inflammation, right? It helps the body find that modulation, the homeostasis point where the proper amount of inflammation. So chronic tendinopathies, bone pathologies, skin pathologies, not that every chiropractor is going to need this, but I want you to understand the strength and the diversity of this device. At that International Medical Shockwave Symposium, there were 350 doctors from all over the world. And I've never been to conferences in 3 decades where you have all these different subspecialists. You have cardiologists, you have trauma surgeons, you have urologists, neurologists, chiropractors, physios, orthopedists, right? All sharing their research about this amazing emerging technology and how it's working on their toughest conditions. That's the part that gets me so excited and gets me fired up. You join an elite squad of over 1,500 doctors in North America. Be part of the 2%. We are looking for a few good doctors, right? This is the Navy SEALs of healthcare providers. But watch what's happened over the last 5 years and how we've literally, created another 900 clinics out there. And in the next 2.5 years, we'll place another 900 devices. So we're doubling in half the amount of time. And thank you, Davide, for your team's effort and everything you do to make it, get our message out there, right? We're on a mission to end pain and suffering for millions of people without drugs, cortisone, or surgery.
Absolutely.
That's a powerful slide right there. I love it. And there, the healing, the learning starts from the minute you make the purchase, right? We start with a basic certification course that's virtual, that has 15 of the top orthopedic and sports injuries that are going to walk into your condition, right? This is a 10-minute patent pending protocol. Most of our doctors sign up for our 90-day challenge. That's where if over the next 90 days, if you having this office, you're able to generate enough revenue to pay off your purchase price of this, we give you another $1,000 in Softwave bucks that you can buy for swag, put towards a cart, or even towards refurbishments. It's really easy to implement. It's very user-friendly. 75% of follow-up treatments can be done by a non-licensed healthcare provider. In my clinic, we have 2 devices during the week, and we bring a 3rd one in on Saturdays because it's so busy. And, I love it. Can't say enough about it. So, what keeps you up at night? After talking to, close to 3,700 doctors, I'm able to listen to what keeps these doctors up. And a lot of things are, where will they have enough money to retire? Is their body going to stand up to this rigorous profession that we, picked? Will they have enough money to send their kids to college? Will they have enough money to pay for their daughter's weddings? I have 3 daughters. So this is one that keeps me up. But this has been the cherry on the top for my career. I did very well in healthcare, but the last 7 years has been amazing. And I just want to share that, right? And I always say to doctors, if this lives up to all the hype, all I ask that you tell us, give us 2 or 3 wonderful colleagues or peers that could benefit from having this in their community, right? So we have a wonderful affiliate referral program where you can refer in a peer or a colleague, and we get reimbursement for it. So it's a beautiful thing. So again, elevating your practice, I call it elevates it to prime time. This is the great equalizer. It helps increase revenue. Most doctors make $45 per adjustment. This is doubling and sometimes tripling that, depending on size and severity of the condition you're working. Increases your profit centers, refer out less, see more difficult patients. It's recession proof. It's definitely pandemic proof, right? Because my clinic grew from 25 new Softwave patients to 125 in about a 5-month period in 2020. And also be the first in your community. There's an old saying in our profession, you never want to be the second in your town with new technology. And you sure as hell don't want to do a knockoff Like that would be one of the worst things to do. But this attracts 100% of the people that are suffering in your community. And unfortunately, chiropractic profession has been around for 129 years, I believe. And we still only capture 12% of the population. That same curve that we looked at, we haven't even jumped that chasm yet. So just your thoughts on that, Davide?
Yeah, I mean, I talk with hundreds of chiropractic offices on a monthly basis. And one of the number one things that we're seeing, and even if you look at the stats and the Google data, if you go to Google and type in trends.google.com and you punch in pain and then you punch in chiropractic, it's quite shocking because you'll see that 90% of your community is searching for a solution to pain, and only 10% are searching for a chiropractic as that solution, which is quite shocking. So when you get a piece of equipment like this, it basically just opens a whole new world to you where you're now capturing, as you said earlier, a 90% of that market that right now you have, they don't even know you exist. You know, they're not even searching for you. And so we've got to change that. We've got to shift that. And this is how we do this in Shockwave, is we have this incredible ability to set you up and then help you to attract those new types of people so that you're successful from day one. And as soon as we send out that first text, maybe to your database or help you in whatever way you need help, you know, we get traction instantly. And patients come in. You know, we always like to encourage people, and Dr. Matt, you're great at this, is we say that think of those 20 worst cases sitting right now in your office, the ones that you've not been able to get results for the last 8 weeks and you've been pulling your hair out. Get those people on that first day, the training day with your device, because you're going to see some wild results. And then you will realize why this opens up your entire community to you, where maybe you felt a bit stuck. Maybe you were very selective with the types of patients you treated. Maybe you only did subluxations. You never took on the neuropathy cases. All these things start to create new opportunities and possibilities. And that's why this is recession proof, as you said earlier.
Great point. And yeah, I mean, we call it a soft launch for your Shockwave. Well, that training day, we've turned into a productivity day because you're going to get those 10 to 12 of the worst patients. We need knee people, shoulder, elbow, wrist, failed carpal tunnel, failed back surgeries, failed joint replacement, foot issues, knee. We become a niche knee clinic, and we line them up every 15 minutes, and we show you and your staff just how quickly this works, as well as the transformational type of changes that your patients see. It will get you and your staff 100% re-engaged in your clinic, and that's guaranteed. So I call this the Trojan horse, right? We've developing proven formulas for doctors to convert patients at over a 50% level. Your team has been so wonderful with working with hundreds of clinics across the country to help drive more people in. And again, we're taking a broken healthcare system, we're taking it from bad to good. And this is now considered the first potent therapy for spinal cord injury patients. I don't want to get into too much of it, but for the last 5 years, the Austrian workers' comp system has created a spinal cord injury pilot. And any patients that's in their borders that has a spinal cord injury get Shockwave treatments within the first 72 hours. There's a short window where, you know, you can help a person. And I think it's not only is it helping activate stem cells, repair cells, but it's flushing out that edema, that inflammation, so you don't create these hematomas that are really the silent killers and cut off the blood supply to the spinal cord. And that's where you get permanent, irreversible damage. So if you want that study, just ask us, send us a response. This is one of my favorite videos. Hopefully it comes on. Let's see.
Imagine having an injury, but not needing to go into the knife or rely on addictive pain medication, yet you can be healed by shockwaves. That's the idea behind something called soft wave therapy.
Cheers. Holy cow. when I got off the table, I didn't feel the pain for the first time, I guess maybe in 12 years.
This is a nice little break for me. It really, truly, this brought back life to me that I had been without for so many years.
How was your experience using this device?
My experience has been life-changing. It's been a really amazing thing.
So it's nicknamed the stem cell machine. The idea is that it uses shockwaves to recruit the body's own stem cells to help heal injuries.
Very good.
How come? Tell me what's different about your hands.
Like moving, opening the ball, and like.
How long has it been since you've been able to do that? 20 years?
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it works better on the joints. Ooh, what's up? All right, don't overpush it there. Man needs a knee replacement.
I don't. There's no tightness in my back.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's crazy. I guess I don't realize.
But it is remarkable, and you can meet the doctors that are looking at it are like, this is unbelievable progress.
Or is ACL?
Crying behind the camera.
Tomas said to me, why do you do this? Why do you go? Why are you in Vancouver? Why are you in Portland? Why are you? I'm like, because this thing is so transformational.
I mean, and again, just to add humans, right? Someone said to me, well, how do I know if this works? Well, we have it in 2,400 clinics, 1,500 in North America. You know, Dr. Kyles, who we work with every day, he's one of our national trainers. You know, he generated 357,000 in his first year. Dr. Corey did over, he was the first 90-day challenge winner. Jeff May has, you know, continued to do very well with this device. Dr. Scott does over $55,000 every month with 2 devices. Dr. Sue generated over $2 million since she got this in the middle of COVID. I could go on and on. Dr. George, lower right handle, he pre-sold over $35,000 in the first 9 days before he even got the device and paid it off in the first 9 days. And this is Dr. Kyle's numbers, right? And he averaged 29,000 per month. And this is in 2021. He's continued to do that for the last 3 years. So $356,000. You know, over the next 5 years, he'll collect 1.7 million, 1.8, nearly $1.8 million. And that doesn't count his chiropractic, his weight loss, and everything else he does. Like, these are legit numbers. And I could pick out 100 of these.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, right? So here's your proof, the proof of the pudding. Not only does it get your patients well, but it also makes your clinic financially very stable and well. Dr. Mike, Dr. Stacy, and Nate, they did over 120,000 in the first 70 days. So I love this. I get these texts from my doctors. Thank you, Dr. Matt, for bringing this technology to our profession. Thank you, right? So what is it worth? It breaks down to understanding capital investments, right? If you buy your wife a new Lexus and they put the big red bow on and you drive it off the car lot, that thing depreciates 15%. This device is one of the few capital investments that actually I feel it has an appreciating value to it, right? So we're going to talk specifically about the OrthoGold 500. The beautiful thing is we have the original OrthoGold 100. We have the ChiroGold that is priced so beautifully right now, and I just love it. Then we have the OrthoGold 350 and 500. Those last 3 are all linear, meaning doesn't matter what energy level you are, you still get the 100% of the pulses that are in that probe. And what makes a difference between the ChiroGold, the 350, and the OrthoGold 500 is the longevity of the spark plug. So let's just look at the 500 because this is, you know, it's a groundbreaking device. Literally gets you about 1,000 pulses per probe. You get 3 of those. Each probe is going to be, if you charge about $125, which is probably low, but usual and customary, each probe will make you $125,000. Times 3, that's $375,000 that you're going to make before you ever have to pay for a refurbishment. That's nearly a 5-to-1 return on your investment. That's like buying Amazon in 1998, okay? This is the type of ROI you want for your clinic. And And Doc, I mean, Davide, I know we're going to do another one on financial freedom. What do you do when you start making this money, and what debts do you pay off first, and what credit cards and or student loans? So we'll talk about the next one, but that's the thing I'm loving. I think some of our competitors are like, oh, well, it's too expensive to buy a probe. Well, yeah. Well, guess how much those probes make? 125,000. With the Modus F and some of the stem waves, you're lucky if you're supposed to get 50,000 pulses per their spark plugs, but people are only getting 10 to 15,000. And there are a lot of issues. So you're comparing apples to orange, or apples to watermelons. You're comparing a Volkswagen 1965 Beetle to a Tesla supercharged ludicrous device with self-driving capabilities. You know how much I love Teslas, right? You were with me when I bought my last one. What I love about Tesla is every month they send me an update over the air magically through this Wi-Fi thing, and my car stops faster in a shorter period of time. The coolest thing about the ChiroGold is you can come, it's our most economical model, and you can come in at a certain price, but that device will grow with your clinic. So it's easily updated. We could do it to the 350 or 500 via the Wi-Fi. We just give you a code and punch it in, boop, just like my Tesla. That's what I love. So the ChiroGold is the one we're really pushing, but we want to show you the capabilities. So, understanding capital investment, we have a range of options, like I said, from the original OrthoGold 100 to the current ChiroGold that came out last month. The OrthoGold 350 came out in March of 2023, and then the OrthoGold 500 was just released last month. So the current deal that I love, it's a 6-month deferred payment option, basically, and then for the next 6 months, it's only $99. For the entire year, it's $594 out of pocket. What do you think of that?
I think it's incredible. And, it's quite a life-changing opportunity. And one of the things that, again, I know I keep saying this, but because I speak to so many practitioners on almost a daily and weekly basis, the number one thing I hear is, my wife wants me home more. I'm only one person. I can only do so much. It's, I just lost one of the chiros in my office, and now it's all on me, and I'm chained to my practice. This is what I hear all the time. And you're telling me that for $594, I'm going to be able to get a piece of equipment that's going to take off all that physical strain I'm experiencing every single day of my life. It's going to help me generate almost 3 times more revenue in my practice, because the treatment prices are, you'll be able to charge $150 per treatment. That's 3 times what you charge for a normal chiropractic session. I mean, truly, this is probably the greatest opportunity that is of a generation, to have something that is not only improving patient care, increasing productivity, and increasing profitability of a practice, and it's that cheap. I mean, this is a no-brainer opportunity, I think.
It's wonderful. You're getting a world-class device that is used in over 30 professional sporting teams, 13 trauma centers, 2,400 clinics globally. You've got a team, right? That Softwave University, I actually built it to share our patient testimonials and wins, but also our failures, right? This doesn't raise people from the dead. This doesn't work really well with deeper trains or trigger figure. And it doesn't grow hair back. That's the 3 things I notice. But it seems like every other month we find a new condition that Softwave can help with, because inflammation is really the silent killer. And this is really unlocks the secret of modulating or downregulating the inflammatory process. So, don't wait. Seize the opportunity. Here's what you get with this incredible offer. There's a manufacturer's rebate of $10,000. You get 1 additional probe that's $3,500. It's already part of those 3 probes I talked to you about. We get a 1-year extended warranty valued at $4,000. On-site training that's $3,500. That typically we're going to generate between $5,000 and $9,000 in that first 4-hour shift. The basic certification course, close to $1,500. Access to data biologics for 1 year. That's a national campaign where we're collecting patient information and showing, for in our clinic, like a knee patient might go from a pain score of 7 down to a 3.5 in 4 to 6 weeks. And then your first month of digital marketing is included with that. So, I mean, I don't know what else we can do. We've basically this offers everything and the kitchen sink. Davide, I'll let you take it from here. I mean, it's been an amazing, it's over $28,000 worth of savings. It's just, you're always a gentleman. You're so good to work with, and you're helping really be a magnet for new patients at hundreds of clinics across the country. So thank you for that, and an opportunity to really chat with you today.
Thank you so much for your time. And if you are interested in having a discovery call with one of our experts, in fact, we'll just open up the back end to you. You can go and talk to a number of people, SoftWave owners, anyone really. We'll even schedule an appointment for you with maybe the nearest person to you that you can go in and see it in office, experience it, try it out, and, just get to feel what it feels like, and, treat your hands. I mean, I'm sure many practitioners I talk to are always complaining about that their hands are hurting because of all the treatments they're doing. Well, go and have your hands treated on one of our providers. We'll pay for it. We'll get you connected, plugged in there. So all you got to do is after this call, is just go ahead and schedule a call with one of our team, and then we would love to be able to make that happen for you and schedule you in.
It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, right? You fill out our online application. Once approved, your device is delivered within 10 to 14 days. Even before you get the device, we start the online basic certification course. Listen, I made this like I'm ADHD and a little dyslexic. So all the things are very easy to consume. Takes 2 to 3 minutes each of the segments and areas to treat. And on-site training, where one of our top national certified trainers comes in and really helps you with that launch. Well, I can't thank you enough. That's a great great place for us to stop. And hopefully we've excited some of our doctors and healthcare providers out there to learn more and take the next step.
Thank you very much.